Welcome to another Chainlink update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our Discord server where we post multiple updates a day. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. So today is Christmas, there's nothing going on, which is to be expected, but I'm expecting a short-term pump for the end of the year just because that's what usually happens in a halving year. Now, of course, we don't have to do that, but I don't know if you can remember what I said in my previous videos. Bitcoin actually goes up a lot during the Christmas week. I mean, in the previous cycle, if you look at what Bitcoin did starting on December 24th, Bitcoin went up like 30% by the end of the year. And yeah, I'm still expecting the same thing to happen again, just because I think Bitcoin will get to 120k by the end of the year. Now, of course, this is not a Bitcoin video, so let's first talk about Chainlink and then we'll move on to Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance. So let me talk about the Elliott wave count again, if you did not watch my previous videos. And also, I don't believe many of you will actually watch this video, but I might be wrong. I mean, it's Christmas after all, so, maybe don't look at the chart for a couple of days. It's not really healthy. I mean, that's my job, so, let me talk about the Elliott wave count now. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup, and maybe the fourth wave is in, but like I said, we need some kind of 5-wave move up to be able to confirm that. You could say that we have a 1-2 setup on the chart. This does look like a 1-2 setup, and maybe the third wave is happening right now. So let me actually put in a support zone and a resistance level for the third wave on the chart, just because I can. So yeah, this is not the best support zone ever, but as you can see, Chainlink reacted to it, so things are looking quite well. And I'm gonna give you one for the third wave target as well, just because we actually got above this high right here, which leads me to believe that a third wave will happen very, very soon. Now, of course, I'm not gonna count these waves because this could always fail. But like I said, this is a 1-2 setup and we could get a third wave and a fourth wave and a fifth wave very, very soon. And once we get these 5 waves, I will be able to confirm that the fourth wave low is in and that we are heading in a fifth wave move to the upside, which is the fifth wave for the first wave for the main third wave move to the upside, which is somewhere up here. So yeah, let me give you a target for that third wave, but like I said, it could always fail, so keep that in mind. Here you go, so it's between $31 and about $35. The minimum target is the 200% extension of the 1-2 setup right here, and we'll see if we get there or not. I mean, we should get there if we get a pump, but if we don't, then another fourth wave move down low would not be the end of the world. Maybe Chainlink wants to test the bull market support band first, because the bull market support band is exactly at the 50% extension, so this could be a good time to test it. Like I said, we don't have to do that, but you never know. I mean, we don't really have an ABC structure on the chart yet, so this could only be the A wave, this could be the B wave, and the C wave might still come. I don't know. Of course, if you zoom out, maybe you can count some kind of ABC here, so the low could be in, but we'll see what happens. Now, I also want to talk about the daily chart, just to remind you what we are doing here. So, after hitting the bear market low in June of 2023, we formed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup. This formed a first wave move. Then we went down for about 6 months. This was a brutal period. Many people were losing patience, but I was actually covering Chainlink during this time, and I did tell you that a third wave will most likely happen after the 1-2 setup here, because it only made sense to happen. And the minimum target for the third wave up here is at about $105. That's the 200% extension of this 1-2 setup here. And I'm expecting that to happen by May of 2025. Then the summer of 2025 will most likely be boring because, summers are very boring in crypto, so that will be the perfect time for a fourth wave move down. And then by the end of the year, let's say by September or November or October of 2025, we should still hit a fifth wave, and that should put us somewhere between $160 and $270, but I don't know if getting to the 2618 level is possible. We'll have to wait and see. Now, if you look at the weekly chart, our Chainlink is no longer overbought, which is good. And yeah, if you look at the monthly chart, I mean, Chainlink is not even overbought, even though it's at like $25. So if we get to the overbought territory like we did over here, Chainlink could realistically get to $200 extremely soon. Now, of course, not in this month or next month, probably next year if things are bullish. Now keep in mind, Chainlink is still in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, and this formed a first wave move. Then the bear market was an ABC down, which formed a second wave move to the downside, which means that right now we could be working on a third wave, which is the most impulsive move ever. But of course, we will not complete the main third wave in this cycle. We will most likely complete this in like 2 decades or so, and keep in mind, this is only a long-term projection. This might not play out. In this cycle, we will only focus on the first 5 waves of the first wave of the third wave, which means that in the next bear market we will get a big ABC structure if we form 5 waves up in this cycle. And then after that, the next bull market, which I'm expecting to pop by 2029, that should get us a third wave of a third wave, which could be very, very impulsive, but that will only happen if we form 5 waves up in this cycle, and then if we form an ABC structure to the downside in the next cycle. So Chainlink is looking bullish. I have always been bullish on Chainlink just because it's looking very, very nice. But keep in mind, even if it does look nice, that does not mean that it's guaranteed that we will actually go to these insane numbers like $1,000 or so. So of course, you have to take profits at some point. I mean, if you bought down here, for example, if you bought at like $8, maybe $10, maybe taking some profits at $50 and then at $70 and then at $100 is the right thing to do. Now, I'm not gonna tell you when to sell or how much to sell. All I wanted to know is that you need to take profits at some point and don't get too greedy. I mean, if it gets like $50 and you bought at like $10, I mean, that's a 5x. You should take profits in my opinion, but this is not financial advice. So yeah. Let's also look at Bitcoin dominance. What's happening on the Bitcoin dominance chart is also interesting. We went above the bull market support band and we are now getting rejected. And we'll see if this actually continues or not. We'll see if we keep going down or if we get above it again. And I'm not going to talk too much about this because I have already talked about it many times. But all you need to know is that we had a cross on the bull market support band, just like we did in 2020, exactly after hitting a top, after getting to the 0.618 extension. And Bitcoin dominance went below the bull market support band, and 48 days later, after we had the cross, that's when the altcoin season started. Right now we had a cross about 30 days ago, which means that if we want to copy what we did in 2020 and what we did in 2016, because in 2016 we did the exact same thing, Bitcoin dominance has to continue going sideways for about, let's say I don't know, probably like 3 weeks or so, and then we should start going down in January. So I also want to talk about Bitcoin. I still believe Bitcoin will get to $120,000 by the end of the year, just because Bitcoin usually goes up a lot by the end of a halving year. So for example here, I've already talked about this in the beginning of the video, but in the previous cycle, Bitcoin went up like 30% in a matter of 7 days. And look at what happened after that. It still continued to go up until January. It went up until January 10th. And then after that, we had a correction on the chart. But if you look at what Chainlink was doing during that time, Chainlink was actually going down in December, even though Bitcoin was going up. And then it started going up in January. And when Bitcoin started going down right here, Chainlink did not really care. It actually continued going up, and it went up another 2x from this low right here, and about 3x from this low right here. So yeah, as you can see, the altcoins tend to start outperforming Bitcoin in the post-halving year, and I'm expecting the same thing to happen again very soon. And if you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we did drop like 6% here, and the altcoins already started going crazy. So it's only a matter of time until we get a break to the downside that looks like this, and this will be the real altcoin season. The move that we got here looks more similar to the move that we got here than this right here, so I'm still expecting a drop like this to happen very soon. And I would not be surprised if it started happening in January and then it continued until March or so, maybe May. As you can see, in May, we actually had a pump on the Bitcoin dominance chart, and you know why that is? Because summers are usually very boring. And during that time, the altcoins tend to bleed against Bitcoin. So yeah, and then after the summer, look at what happened. Bitcoin dominance went down again. So I also want to talk about the fear and greed index. Bitcoin is currently at a fear and greed level of 73, which is insane to think about, considering the fact that Bitcoin is at like $95,000. And if you look at what Bitcoin was doing in the previous cycle exactly 4 years ago, the fear and greed index was at like 95, and during that time Bitcoin was at about $27,000. Right now Bitcoin is almost at 100k, and the fear and greed index can barely go above 70 or 80, which is insane to think about. And this is why I believe, of course it's not the only reason I believe this, but I still believe Bitcoin will get to about $255,000 by the end of next year, and then that will be the top, which means that in 2026 and 2027 we will get bear markets, and 2028, that's when we start going up again, and in 2029 we top again, and I'm expecting Bitcoin to top at like $1 million in 2029, but we'll see if we get that or not. So yeah, Chainlink is still looking good, and that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our Discord server where we post multiple updates a day. Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the next one.